every day for war and occupation. The Democratic-led Congress could have voted to provide health care through a single-payer health care system, Medicare for all type system. They could have chosen to subsidize education so students wouldn't graduate from college $100,000 in debt, as is the case with my cousin. They could have chosen to put together a jobs program, infrastructure investment, the kind of budget that satisfies human needs instead of corporate greed, but they chose not to do that. And because they chose not to do that, I choose to withhold my most precious political asset, which is my vote, from them. I am happy to vote green, to be a green, and I would love to see public policy made in this country according to Green Party values.
Rosa Clemente, you have seen the suffering that has unfolded over the last 2 years in New Orleans. Do you see that as the kind of issue that you would be focusing on, how to rebuild New Orleans and other communities that face this kind of problems?
Of course. I mean, it would be one of our highest priorities, the right to return for all of those that were forced out of New Orleans. And that's one of the biggest issues. In fact, a Green Party member, Malik Rahim, that many people know, is running for Congress down in New Orleans, and that's something that we have to support, local leadership that is about the right to return down in New Orleans. So as someone who witnessed a lot of that devastation, and then someone like Cynthia that was really the only Democrat at that time really out front for the people, that would definitely be one of the highest priorities, especially as it relates to the juvenile justice system down in Louisiana. The Juvenile Justice Project of Louisiana and their executive director, a very good friend of mine, Dana Kaplan, just helped to shut down one of the worst jails in there. So what we're also seeing is young people really motivated and ready to organize, and almost half the young people in this country haven't even registered to vote yet. So that really speaks to where the Green Party is going to go, and the people we're trying to target, and that young people, we can literally swing the election any way we want. And if we vote for what we need as a generation, the only sane vote would be a vote for the Green Party ticket.
You're listening to Flashpoints on Pacifica Radio. That's the voice of Rosa Clemente. She's a vice presidential candidate on the Green Party. And also with us on the line is the Green Party presidential candidate, Cynthia Mckinney. She's on the road, and we're delighted to have both of you with us. Cynthia Mckinney, what does it say about the culture and the country and where we are at the crossroads in terms of the way in which this country dealt with New Orleans and let these people essentially fester and die and disappear, or not?
Well, I think the emperor has no clothes. Some of us, this is the dirty little secret that many of us in this country have always lived with. But now the entire world was able to see just exactly what the United States is all about. And that is why the United Nations has come here and has openly criticized the United States and its record for human rights at home, respect the human rights at home, because it was impossible, it would have been impossible for the international body to have witnessed what happened in New Orleans and across the Gulf states and have done nothing. The United States has made a lot of enemies because it proselytized on the issue of human rights and respect to human rights. And here we have a situation where the United States doesn't respect the human rights of its own citizens. Some of us know that this has been the case for a very long time. In 1948, W.B. Du Bois took a petition to the United Nations on the treatment of the ancestors of enslaved Africans. In 1951, Paul Robeson again approached the United Nations with a charge of genocide against the ancestors of the enslaved Africans. And so we have, just shortly before his murder, Malcolm X was also planning to present a petition to the United States. And so in 2001, at the Durban World Conference Against Racism, it was very clear that the world's marginalized and dispossessed experienced a victory. An international victory was won in 2001 in Durban, South Africa, only to have that victory erased, of course, by the tragedy that occurred a few days later with September 11th.
All right, well, we're going to have to leave it right there, but I do have a sort of 15-second question from the producers. Maybe I'll give it to you, Rosa. What band do you both want to be playing during the inauguration in January? Have you thought of what band's going to welcome you in?
Well, for me, it would be Rebel Diaz, Dead Prez, and the Welfare Poets all together. That would be fantastic.
Cynthia Mckinney, what do you think?
Oh, I think Rosa is in charge of that department, and I'm her lead. I would just add Immortal Technique.
All right. All right. I want to thank both of you. We've been speaking with Cynthia Mckinney. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for joining us and stepping out of the car there to be with us on Flashpoints today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Rosa Clemente, thank you so much for calling in and joining us. A very important dialogue, and we appreciate it very much.
Thank you, and check out our website, gtgreenparty.org. Thank you.
All right, and I want to, again, please, all the other presidential, vice presidential candidates, line up. You're welcome to come on in. Stay tuned for Flashpoints on Pacifica.